What is up, kiddos? It is Wednesday, October 8th, 2014, and you are listening to the Triple Stick Spooktacular. As always, I am your host and master of cemeteries, Chris. This time, we will be checking out WWE Monday Night Raw, getting our gore fix in with the 1985 horror gem Reanimator, get some thrills and chills out of the classic H.P. Lovecraft macabre tale, Herbert West Reanimator, venture into a world of terror and blood-splattered walls with 2010's most gruesome game, Splatterhouse, and venture into the Pacific Northwest in the quirky murder mystery tale, Deadly Premonition. Alright, man, let's get our non-Halloween topic out of the way first, although to some, it might be terrifying. WWE Monday Night Raw, aka The Dean Ambrose Show. This was a really good Raw for the parts that I watched. As always, Dean Ambrose is a maestro on the microphone. The man has the promo skills of a god. And I'm not sure how he does it. He always keeps everything fresh and fantastic and entertaining, which is incredibly difficult to do considering he's on TV twice a week cutting promos. It's just crazy. So, we get some updates on the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view that is coming up on October 26th, which will feature John Cena versus Dean Ambrose, with the winner getting Seth Rollins in the Hell in the Cell later that night. And the loser gets to face Randy Orton, because he is only good enough to be the backup plan when the one you really want cancels on you. Heartbreak. Later in the night, extreme hilarity ensues when Ambrose, who had left the building earlier in the night, comes back to help Cena beat down the Authority with the help of a hot dog cart, ketchup, and mustard. He sprays ketchup and mustard all over Randy Orton and Corporate Crane and beats them to a ketchup-y pulp, and they run away. And then he goes and delivers his finishing move, Dirty Deeds, onto an unsuspecting John Cena to close out the show. Fantastic Dean Ambrose segments, as always. The man, he just knows how to speak. Alright, in non-Dean Ambrose news for Monday Night Raw, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment made a one-off appearance by laying down one of the most elegant promos in the past year, and then proceeded to beat up Alexander Rusev. It was definitely the best non-Ambrose segment of the past few months. You gotta go back to Daniel Bryan to see a segment that awesome without Ambrose being in it. It is amazing that The Rock has not lost a single touch when it comes to live in-ring promos, despite having very few live appearances a year. I absolutely love The Rock when it has nothing to do with John Cena. So yeah, the Dean Ambrose Show, a very, very good mix of comedy and action from both Dean Ambrose and The Rock. So just for those two guys, I give it a solid 1.5 Batista thumbs up. Check out those segments. Alright, first up for this Halloween spooktacular, Re-Animator, the 1985 movie. This movie pulls no punches. Before we even get a title screen or production house logo, the movie starts right away. Within 2 minutes, you get a glimpse of what made horror so great in the 1980s. That is scarcely found in today's horror. The gore looks raw and real. Herbert West is a brash young medical student who shoots straight and talks bluntly. We first meet him trying to bring one of his colleagues back to life in gruesome fashion. Excuse me. And that really sets the tone for the whole movie. Hold on. Hi, Ethan. You texted me. It could happen. It could happen indeed. Alright, back to the review. Wait, what could happen? The viewers need to know. Oh yeah, totally. That's right, that could totally happen. Alright, back to Reanimator. Where was I? Oh, here we go. The basic plot is Herbert West is trying to find a way to reverse death, and he has mixed results along the way. Don't let the fact that this is an 80s horror movie sway you. The acting is absolutely superb, with Bruce Abbott, who plays West, doing a damn fine portrayal. And the rest of the cast is also great, playing off each other. I especially love Dr. Hill, who is just creepy in his own way. I said this already, but it must be restated. This is some of the finest blood and gore I have ever seen in any movie, any era, ever, all time. It looks real to me and is just another reason why using real-life props and makeup can add a chilling effect that CGI just cannot touch, cannot replicate, no matter how much money you throw in the CGI machine. Especially the cat. Man, that cat. God, talk about gruesome. Just absolutely stunning. And the decapitation. So I won't say who, but a decapitation happens. And then he gets reanimated. And then he basically becomes floating head doctor. I don't know how the production team pulled this off. The props, the makeup. Absolutely stunning. This movie, it just needs to be seen to be believed. My words almost do no justice to the film. If you love gruesome horror that is heavy on blood and viscera, you absolutely must check out this movie. I give it 2 big Batista thumbs up. Check it out on Blu-ray, DVD, and Netflix streaming right now. Alright, on to a short story I have been reading and finally got around to finishing. Herbert West Re-Animator by H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, he does other things besides Cthulhu. Reanimator is the story of Herbert West and his insane journey to find a solution to reviving the dead. The novel is set in the early 1900s and takes place at Miskatonic University, set in the fictional town of Arkham. No, not that Arkham. That's not even a city. Shut up. Okay, yes, that Arkham. Arkham, Massachusetts. And it is narrated by an unnamed colleague of Herbert West, who chronicles his exploits of helping West before West's mysterious disappearance. The way Lovecraft meticulously conveys the story is both stunning and haunting. He gives off this extreme sense of dread and creepiness using very little gory imagery while slowly showing you a glimpse of West's psyche and how he slowly plunges into madness. He just uses little tidbits of information to really mess with your head. It's amazing. It really is a testament to how a great writer can make things spooky without getting into graphic detail. It is a short read. It took me about 2.5, 3 hours overall, and I am a slow reader. It is well worth it if you wanted to get into any horror stories, any short stories, especially Lovecraft. This is a great Lovecraft to start with. It's in the public domain and very easy to find for free. I think you can find the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft on public domain. I think that's how I got it on my Kindle. I give this short story 2 big Batista thumbs up. Reanimator is one of the best horror stories I have ever read, up there with The Shining. Obviously not as long, but definitely up there in my personal creep factor. Alright, next up, video game Splatterhouse from 2010, which is heavily influenced by Reanimator. We start off the game by seeing hero Rick Taylor, nearly dead in a sea of his own crimson life force, when a mysterious mask, voiced by Winnie the Pooh, tells Rick that he doesn't have to die and he can help get his girlfriend back from the evil Dr. Henry West. Yes, Henry West this time. And that's all I'm gonna say about the plots, because that's the entire, well, not the entire plot, but 50% of the plot. So, the basic gameplay is a standard beat-em-up with a moveset of 45 different combos, both unarmed and with deadly weapons you find throughout the game, including nail-gun 2x4s, shotguns, chainsaws, enemy severed arms, your own severed arm, enemies' decapitated heads, and a few other cool weapons. Most of the combos need to be unlocked, but more on that later. Now, when you first start off the game, The moveset is just button mashing and can be quite frustrating because in that first, I want to say, half hour, 45 minutes, it is stupid difficult. It is a stupid difficult game until you get that splatter regeneration move. But if you stick it out, the moveset fleshes out, and you will be easily decapitating and dismembering your adversaries in no time. The controls are very responsive, and it's just really good combat. And I'm someone who doesn't like most beat-em-up games. Not even God of War. Different moves get unlocked in the game as you go on by collecting blood from the enemies you kill off, and the blood is collected automatically depending on how brutally the enemy is killed. I really like this system because it's easy to collect blood, and many of the moves you unlock are nearly essential when it comes to the later stage of the game, when the difficulty gets cranked up almost too much, even on easy mode. And the way you buy movesets is really good. You just press select on the PS3 or back on the Xbox 360, and you go to your moveset and you automatically unlock stuff, and that's a great thing. Another really good thing about this game is the voice acting. As I mentioned earlier, the terror mask that forms itself onto Rick's face is voiced by Jim Cummings, and he is absolutely the star of the game, despite only being an inanimate object with a voice. He constantly goads Rick, makes obscene comments, and is just completely bloodthirsty for anyone and anything that stands between him and his goal. There are a few moments where the mask gets completely serious, and he does a great job of conveying that to the player. Josh Keaton, the voice actor for Rick, does an adequate job with his range of emotions and constant banter with the terror mask, who for the most part is just a jerk to Rick. Chanel Workman and Richard Doyle plays Rick's girlfriend Jennifer and Dr. Henry West respectively, and they do their jobs well. I really liked a lot of the level designs, including the different iterations of the West Mansion, which is where the diabolical doctor performs his experiment, and the amusement park, which is creepy and fantastic and amazing, and I love this level. This is one of my favorite horror game levels of all time. I would love to see more horror games use amusement parks as set pieces in a good way. So many possibilities there. Both of these are fantastic scenery pieces. I didn't really care too much for the urban New York City level, mainly because that is a very frustrating level and kind of hurts the pace of the game for me. The Splatterhouse and the laboratory are very, very cool. Despite the fact that they kind of look too much like each other, they are really cool, especially the bosses that you fight in those respective areas are just absolutely amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything, but those are two of the best boss battles in the game. Overall, the level design was very cool, and at the very least, they change it up every chapter, so it doesn't get boring to look at. And there's also a collecting aspect to the game. Throughout many levels, mainly in the West Mansion, I believe only in the West Mansion, you will find phonograms narrated by Dr. West, giving explanations to his experiments in sometimes gruesome fashion. These give a very good insight into his mind and motivation for his actions. And then there are also pictures of Jennifer that Rick can collect throughout the game. On each chapter, there's a different picture, and the picture is ripped into 4 different parts you must find throughout the level to complete the picture. They range from very tame to extremely naughty. And if you're wondering why you don't see any more of the revealing pictures in the slideshow I'm presenting to you, remember kids, this is a PG podcast. And that ain't PG. The collecting aspect is very fun, but it's for completionists and not at all essential to the plot of the game. So if you want to skip that, don't even bother with it. Just skip it. One final good thing I want to talk about is the splatter arenas. This is horde mode, separate from the story, and I found it to be fun and challenging as long as you have the important moves and combos unlocked. If not, you're going to get the crap beaten out of you and you're going to lose easily. So be sure to unlock those combos. There are 20 waves per splatter arena, and these arenas also have pictures to collect that pop up every 5 waves. Not much to say other than it's another element for completionists that is not necessary at all, but quite fun. They tend to take 15 to 20 minutes per, and are great if you finish the story and want more gory goodness. There are 6 included on the disc. I'm not sure, but I believe there are more DLC splatter arenas. And then, also, the original 3 Splatterhouse games are also unlockable, but I won't get into those other than their inclusion is very cool to see and gives you more stuff to play. This is the game that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. You gotta love it. Now, on to the negatives. And boy, this game has some downers. My biggest complaint was the side-scrolling portions of the game. They wouldn't be so bad, but the physics absolutely suck. Running and jumping are a pain. They can be done, but you have to be very careful. You have to go slow, except for the urban level, which is stupid. And it's just not fun. It could have been fun, but it's not fun. And I've beaten this game 5 times over the past few years, and am still having trouble with these stages. So, it's a shame, but it's maybe an hour, not even an hour out of the whole game. So they are beatable, just take your time. Another rough spot is the camera can sometimes be unstable and annoying. It can be jerky and janky, and it messes with you and it jars all over the screen. It's not the worst offender, certainly not the worst camera I've ever dealt with, but it's no Persona camera. And there are a couple of instances where the janky camera happens during combat, and that is just no fun. But it rarely happens. So those are my main complaints, and if you can look past that, which I could, Splatterhouse is very wonderful. It has some amazing boss battles that I do not want to spoil, and is a great horror game if you just want something that is extremely gory without being ridiculously scary. Now, if for some reason you do want the extreme gore with the spine-tingling frights, check out The Evil Within when it drops in a week. That should fill your needs. Damn, does that game look scary. I might pick it up. Who knows? So, overall, I give Splatterhouse an extremely biased but well-deserved 2 Batista thumbs up. It is one of my favorite games ever. Good God, I even own the damn shoes. Yeah, look at those. I bought those for $40 and well worth my money. They're so fantastic. I do not regret them at all. Yeah, those are real. I'm not joking. And this game is always a treat to play around Halloween. It is a solid 8-hour story without factoring in the classic games and the splatter arena. And you should be able to find a copy for under $15. So go check it out. Alright, quick drink break. Hold on. Tasty Tay Java unsweetened black tea. Very, very tasty. Alright, final review of the day. A game that I have tried to play a few times and have finally gotten deep into. Deadly Premonition. Just a quick note for the uninformed. Deadly Premonition is pretty much a love letter to Twin Peaks, the absolute best live-action TV show ever. Don't even disagree with me, it's absolute fact. Nothing beats Twin Peaks, it's the best. I don't care, your meth shows, your winter shows, screw them, it's all about Twin Peaks, baby. It's just a fact. Okay, back to the game. We are introduced to Francis York Morgan, but everyone calls him York, who is pretty much Special Agent Dale Cooper. And if you don't get that reference, stop right now, go watch Twin Peaks. No, my podcast, go watch Twin Peaks right now. Well, no, finish my podcast and then go watch. Whatever. The game gets off to a fast start. Very little plot is given. The player is supposed to infer what is going on in the story with the few clues that are given early on. Isn't that right, Zach? Immediately, the game throws you into a dire situation as your car crashes in the zombie-infested woods of the Pacific Northwest. At least the game gives you all the proper equipment you need right off the bat instead of being forced to hunt for it like so many other horror games that I've played that are terrible. After all that madness ensues, we find out that York has been assigned to the town of Greendale to investigate a series of related murders. And that's all I can say because the plot is so convoluted and fantastic. You gotta check it out for yourself. Something you need to experience. It's just amazing. The gameplay is satisfyingly familiar, and by that it is Resident Evil, but even easier. Don't you agree, Zach? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because it's a wonderful and easy to control combat system, and it gives the option of auto-aiming, which is great because I'm not the best shot in the style of gunplay. One way they circumvent having the player always rely on auto-aim is there are some enemies who have protection and no damage will be done until you free aim and hit a vulnerable spot. The thing is, I can get a lot of this combat in other games, and this is absolutely not what Deadly Premonition does different from the other pack of Resident Evil clones. I assume they're Resident Evil clones. It's just a fact. What sets it apart is the dialogue, characters, and most importantly for me, the comedy. Everything funny I saw was completely intentional. The game knows when to be serious, and it knows when it can be silly and surreal comedy, and it had me dying. For example, during a save screen on the first day, it says, "First eat breakfast and get some coffee. The investigation can wait." Maybe it's just my weird sense of humor, but I thought that was great. And another place I was dying is when York is discussing the philosophy of Tom and Jerry by saying that they are in a codependent relationship and Tom lets Jerry consistently abuse him because Tom likes it. The dialogue in this game ranges from very serious to absolute nonsense and is just fantastic. And the great thing is everything is played straight, the voice acting is very well done. I almost wish someone would make a movie or a miniseries out of these cutscenes. The only two huge negatives I have with the game is, first off, the driving is god awful. You want to talk about some bad driving, man. Oh, man, you haven't experienced bad driving until you've played this game. At first, I was like, oh, wow, this is hilarious. God, this driving is awesomely awful. I quickly changed my tune when I realized I had to drive a lot in this game. A crap load lot. Let me tell you, kids, it's not fun. And some of the places are very, very, very far away. So, I just cranked up my Walkman, blasted some Andrew Jackson Jihad while driving this awful car, and made my way to my destination. Yeah, there's no skip. You have to drive all the way there. Another problem is the frame rate at times severely drops. It's never happened to me during combat, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but there are times when it's just really, really bad. I think it drops below 20 in certain areas, which is not good. But other than that, I am loving my time with this game. I have played 8 hours so far. I'm almost halfway done, including going off and doing side missions. I give Deadly Premonition 2 Batista thumbs up. It is available now on Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. I played it on the PlayStation 3. And I know what you're thinking. 4 straight perfect reviews? Are you an idiot? No, sir, I'm a dreamer. Also, there's no such thing as a perfection. I absolutely enjoyed my time with all 4 of these items, and I think that itself is enough reason to give them high praises. I mean, if you enjoy something, even though it kind of sucks, why be negative about it? You enjoy it. Who gives a crap who else doesn't enjoy it? You know, if it sucks, but if you enjoy it, it's cool. Which, Splatterhouse technically kind of sucks, but I love it. Alright, done with the reviews. A preview for the next podcast. I have no clue. Maybe silent horror films. And if I do silent horror films, it'll be Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Phantom of the Opera. Maybe Jekyll and Hyde if I can track that down. There's a few other horrors that are good. Maybe Edison's Frankenstein. You know, all that good stuff you may never have heard of before. I'll educate you, my dear viewer. Have no fear. I might end up doing that since a bunch of those are on Netflix streaming already. So, that will do it for this episode. Oh, that song you heard at the top of the broadcast, and which you might be hearing now, depending on the editing, is the Bruce theme song, which is a wrestling faction, stable, something like that. And they were basically, I think they were vampires. They drank blood. They definitely drank blood. I think they were vampires. And they're fantastic, and the music is just amazing. Halloween vibe, which is why I chose it. I believe it was produced by Jim Johnson. You can quote me on that, and I'm pretty sure it's him. Anyway, I hope you had a scary good time. I know I did. So like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and look out for the next episode. I was Chris. I will see you next time on the Triple Stick Spooktacular.